Hey guys, so I'm going to do a quick review of some trees I got. Cohen in particular asked about them. This bag, this is how it was shipped, is one of two I've got. The total price, including the shipping was free, so it was $10 US for each one of these bags. And they sell these as various sizes, 17 centimeters down to 4 centimeters. So you can see one of the issues that you have is all the stuff, or not all, but a lot of it works loose in shipping. To the point the other bag, that's how much is in the other bag. You can see lots of it comes loose. So the first thing I did was I hit it with some woodland scenic cement, which is just watered down PVA. But the main benefit of this stuff over most of what you'll make for yourself, which is normally just as good, is it tends to mat stuff. So the first thing I did with all of them was give it a coat of that scenic cement to lock on what hadn't come off in transit, and to mat it down a bit. So as you can see, we'll pull out a fresh one. These ones here are all undone, untouched, and they're quite a bit glossier. You can see the stuff falling away. So that was my first step with them. Then the other thing is I cut off the base. I'll get one of these out. They actually, as it turns out, have a metal rod in them, which, let's bring this up. This is one of the new ones. On the first batch I went through, cut these off completely, and then drilled a hole and put a brass rod in, which was a little bit unnecessary. You can see the brass rod I drilled and crazy glued in. There is a rod inside the larger ones that you can use. I just wanted it for stabbing in and out of foam to hold it, along with its final placements. So once I reached this point, I broke out some. We'll go back for a second. As you can see, they're kind of a little bit see-through and very symmetrical. They look really artificial. Along with being too bright, whatever. Not bad, but not perfect. So I hit them up with some, again, a coating with the scenic cement, the watered down PVA, and put on some fine turf burnt grass with sort of a dark undercoat, which would give me a result like this. Added a little bit more bulk, broke up the symmetry. Now some of them do have stuff like this one, where some of it's being displaced, pushed out during shipping, which I guess you could sit and try and force it back into place, but just more stuff falls off. Anyway, so you hit it with some dark grass, and right away it looks a little bit better. A little bit more bulk to it, breaks up the symmetry, and the color's a little bit better. So after that, I'm going to do another coat of, where did I put it? On the larger ones anyway, I would give them a top coat of fine turf weeds, which is a little bit darker than what I would use on the very, very small ones. I used green grass just to make them look a little bit fresher, a little bit newer. Because my experience with trees is the newer ones tend to be a little bit brighter, even than the leaves. So hopefully you can pick that up. A little bit more olive drab and a little bit more just green. So anyway, that is the first bag done. with the exception of this one, which I saved as an example. And swing this around a bit. These two aren't complete, but the rest of these are all out of the first bag. And as you can see in a second, some of the smallest ones are tiny. So when they say an assortment of size, they aren't kidding. That's about 1¼ inches or just 35 millimeters. That's one of the smallest ones there. And the other ones go incrementally bigger. 4 centimeters, 5, and so on and so on. I mean, this is definitely the biggest one that's hiding in the back. Move that up. And so, for a little bit of effort, you turn basically that into these. And that's about how much coverage you can get out of them. We'll call that, you can tighten it up a little bit, 4½ inches or 12 centimeters by 16 centimeters. Whatever, 16 centimeters or about 6½ inches. So, that's a reasonable coverage for them. Let me move that white. I'll show you a little bit better. They're not going to be growing in contact with each other. So I've got another bag to do, and I'll be going ahead with that. I just stopped now with this one to give you an idea of what's going on. So zoom, zip back down again. Just that. So as I was saying, on the smallest ones, I used the lighter green on top versus the darker green on the bigger, more mature ones. And you can see there's some depth. Oops. With the that burnt grass color showing through, some yellowing, so it's not all the way uniform. And again, my experience with trees is they tend to be a little bit paler inside, and the exterior shell, whatever you want to call it, gets all the sunlight and therefore is brightest. But I'll put the link for this seller down there. Obviously there's going to be tons more people from China selling these trees. This guy sells them in a couple of different designs, more pine tree or evergreen, and some deciduous and stuff like that, for about the same price. So you can pick and choose through there. And if you're interested and need to build yourself a bit of a wood scene or a forest scene quickly and don't want to go mind numbing or go mind blank making your own trees, it's a pretty quick solution. So there you have it. You've got some information. Do with it what you will. Take care.